Welcome back, guys, to part 2 of the Century motor and 4x24 belt grinder setup. I've got the belt grinder down at one of my outbuildings out here, so I still haven't got that pulled up here yet. Like I said, I didn't think the Century motor was even going to be worth looking at or fixing, but I thought I'd give it a shot. It looks like it's actually in a whole lot better shape than I thought it was. Big, beefy, half-horse, made back when they made things the way they were supposed to make them to last forever. Like I said, I thought it might have come off of a refrigerator, all glass top type refrigerator or freezer for, five and dime store type of thing. Can't really tell the year. It's got a frame number on it, so it's later than some of the other stuff, before they had frame numbers, kind of their common nomenclature for electric motors. But I've got the rotor set up in the lathe. I saw some very bad pitting, and I'm going to get in there and cut that out with the lathe. So let's take a look at where we're at. Okay, so here's the pitting that I found. And this is going to be kind of right where the packing in the bearing comes down and meets up with the rotor. So if this was spinning around on that packing, it would tear out the packing and cause all kinds of problems. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn it down so there is a slot all the way around the circumference of the shaft here, and that way this isn't, because this is really abrasive. If there's just a slot cut in there, then it's not going to try to rip that packing out, and it's not going to cause a bunch of friction in there. So that's what I'm going to do. I've got it chucked up in the 3-jaw. This would be the back of the rotor. This is the front with the fan. Again, pulling air back over it. This is the front with the output shaft. And I'm just going to go in there and kind of turn that down until we have a nice little slot in there. I'm going to go ahead and quickly check the run out on what it looks like here. Let me get you in for a closer look on what I'm doing here. Alright, so this is what we call checking for run out. I've got a magnetic base holder mounted onto my apron. I've got my Schar's dial indicator there, and I'm going to rotate this around just to see how close we are to on center. And I'm running around 40 and back around. Okay, so I am within 1,000th either way, 1,000th. I'm going to be pretty happy with that. Yep. Alright, we'll get our dial indicator out of the way. Within 1,000th between our live center, I've got the tailstock locked down. Got the chuck tightened up. I'm going to go ahead and start machining in right here. Get some light on there, see what I'm doing. Safety glasses, let's get those. So guys, cutting into a pitted area like this with carbide is extremely volatile, I'll say. Because the carbide is really, really hard, and this pitting in here, it's going to be hit and miss, hit and miss, hit and miss as it's going around. That carbide is really likely to chip. And actually, probably what I'm going to do to be better off and save me $5 in carbide here is to find a piece of high-speed steel to first clean up before I try to run with the carbide. I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay guys, so here's the tool I made. This is the side profile. of the tool. There's the bottom. You can see it's slightly concaved. There's the top of the tool. If I can get some light. You can see there it's just got the slightest point on it, and it's mostly just rounded. That's going to mean it's really strong, and hopefully it'll hold up. So we'll put this in our quick change. We'll get it nice and close, because again, this is going to be what they call an interrupted cut. So I'm not taking off just a steady stream of material. It's going to be chunk, chunk, chunk. And that is really hard on the equipment. It's really hard on the cutter. But hopefully having that nice radius with just a slight point will cut in there and give us a good result. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, coming up to... Hey now. I like that. Let's get our auto feed going. I'm going to be feeding really nice and slow. And I want to feed toward my live center. Alright, here we go. Nice and slow, feeding across that pitted out area right inside there. Just really, really nice and slow. Not too deep here. I'm going to set my 0 on my infeed, and we'll start making some chips. Yeah, this was really the right way to go. I'm cutting right through the pitting right now. And it's not even affecting this high-speed steel. While I was grinding the high-speed steel, also I was dipping it in water so I wouldn't take the temper out of it. It seems to be doing just perfectly going through this interrupted cut right now. I think I was just trying to hog maybe a little too much there. Let me bring you in and show you what that pitting looks like after we came in and skimmed it and then went in 5/1000ths. Alright, so here is the pitting after we came in 5/1000ths. Again, this is exactly what I'm doing, or wanted to do, was just cut a slot in there and go deep enough to get all of that pitting out of there. You can see how deep some of that pitting is. 5/1000ths in, and I've got a ways to go. I may take the high-speed steel, go back to the grinder with it to get a little bit sharper of a point. It's not having any problems at all with that interrupted cut going through the pitting. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take it back to the grinder, get a little bit more pronounced point on it, and get back into it. Okay, so I've gone in and cleaned the point up on this, so now it's a nice pronounced point on there. Let me raise that up just a little bit more. Okay, let's try it out. Much better. Still got a couple spots where there's some pitting. I think I'm going to come in 5/1000ths more. That should clean up one, leave me with just another one there, and I can just take out a smaller section. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so here is the rotor shaft. This is where that extreme pitting was. Again, I just cut a channel down in there. And this is smooth here, even though that looks like pitting. Just a little rough. I'm going to run over that with some emery cloth, run over the rest of this with some emery cloth. Get it nice and smooth. That's the only little spot of the pitting that's left on there. Everything else cleaned up pretty good. So we'll get in there with some emery cloth, clean it up, and we should be good to go as far as the rotor goes.